everyone, Mike here, and today I'm going to be covering Deep Space D-6 from Tau Leader Games. This is a solo-only game that's been on my mind a lot lately. I played it 8 times the day I got it, so you can probably get a feel for how much I'm into the game. The game reminds me a lot of a simplified version of Space Alert, one of my favorite solo and co-op games, and it also calls back to FTL, one of my favorite video games of the recent years. You begin a game of Deep Space D6 by choosing one of 4 ships that come in the base game. You've got the Halcyon, sort of the basic ship, the Athena Mark II with a better defense and offense in some ways, the AG-8, a drone ship, and the Mono Nowhere, which is just kind of weird and I haven't actually played yet. For this playthrough I'm just going to use the basic Halcyon. Next I place the Infirmary card next to my ship. Now I have 2 options. I can use an Infirmary with no special power, or I can use a side that lets me injure my crew to change other crew dice to any value. Now this does make the game a little bit easier, but it also provides a large part of the strategy in the game, so I'm definitely going to play with this side of the Infirmary. I place my hull tracker and my shield tracker at their maximum values, 8 and 4 respectively. Next I choose a difficulty level, which is mainly decided by how many Don't Panic, No Effect cards I include in the deck. I'm going to play on hard mode and use only 1. I shuffle the deck of threat cards to see who's going to come and attack me. And I'll note that I could shuffle the big boss, the Ouroboros, into the deck as well to vary when he shows up, but I'm going to play with the basic rules that he just shows up at the end of the game to fight me. Finally, I draw my first 2 threats. A strike bomber. The triangle symbol shows me he's an external threat, which goes on the right side of the board. If it was a square, he'd be an internal threat on the left side of the board. The dice show when he activates. I'm going to roll a threat die at the end of each turn, and in this case if I roll a 2 or a 4, I resolve his effect, doing -1 hull to me, so damaging my ship, and sending a unit to the Infirmary, making me have 1 less die to use. The 2 is his life, and in a nice easy tracking method, you put them on the correct space, and as they take damage, they go down. If they go off the board, then they are defeated. My second starting threat is another strike bomber. Well, we've got 2 of them. So each round of Deep Space D6 begins with rolling your 6 crew dice, or might be less than 6 if some of them are locked in certain places. Now any scanner results you get are immediately locked up here, and once I get 3 scanner results, they all get returned to me, but I have to draw an extra threat card immediately. Now look at the other results, and by the way, each of these changes by ships, so the parts I'm going to talk about are just for the Halcyon. This science result will let me either recharge my shields, so bringing them all the way up from wherever they are to 4, or it'll let me use a stasis beam, which shuts down an external threat for 1 turn, meaning they can't be activated no matter what threat die number I roll. These medical results have 2 uses. I can either use one of them to return all dice in the Infirmary to the return spot, which means I'll have them for the next turn, or I can use one to take 1 die from the scanner and return it, which means I'm less close to drawing an extra threat die, and I'll also have that die back next turn. Next we have the tactical die, which fires the lasers. The first one I do does 1 damage, again just lowering a card by 1 spot. Each additional one I use does 2 damage, so I can add it pretty quickly. And for the Halcyon, this damage can be split up however I want among threats, whereas for other ships you have different rules for attacking. Finally, out of the ones available in my roll this turn, I have Repair Hull. So the first engineer, kind of like attacking, will heal 1 hull point. Each additional engineer will heal 2 hull points. Finally, the only one I didn't roll is the commander side, and this, I put him up here and he lets me change any die to another value. Additionally, as I mentioned before, I'm using the side of the Infirmary with a special power, so basically I can injure any die, putting it in the Infirmary, to change another die into any value I want, giving me some flexibility. So for this turn I want to blast some of those strike bombers. So I'll go ahead and fire lasers once and do 1 damage to one of the strike bombers. Then I'm going to go and injure my engineer to change this science into another tactical result, doing 2 more damage. That'll finish off this strike bomber and bring this one down to 1 life remaining. Finally, I have 2 medical dice. I'll use 1 to get back the die I injured, and I'll use the other to pull down this scanner result. So I'll have all 6 of my dice again for next turn. After I've assigned and resolved all my dice, I then draw a new threat card. In this case, a Corsair that on a 4, 5, or 6 will do 2 damage to my hull. And I'll note, by the way, that unless they say otherwise, all damage first goes to shields and then goes to hull, even though it says minus hull in all cases. Next I roll the threat die, and again it might activate some of my threats. In this case, though, it does not. None of them have a 1, so nothing happens to my ship this turn at all. I end the turn by gathering all available crew. That's anybody on the ship, and then anybody in the return spot. Again, if dice had been in the infirmary or up on the scanners, they would not be available, and I wouldn't be able to roll them this next turn. Okay, going right on to round 2. Oh my gosh, a ton of tactics. 2 science and a medical. Well, this is a nice enough turn for me, so I'll certainly go ahead and blast 3 times. So that's doing 1. Actually, I don't even need that much, do I? So the first damage does the strike bomber in, and the second does 2 damage to destroy the Corsair. Now, this is pretty wild, but I actually don't have anything to do with my remaining dice, so I guess we're just going to go right into drawing a threat card. Okay, we get Space Pirates, -2 hull on a 3 or a 6. Roll for my threats, no effect. And gather my dice again. Round 3. Oh man, 2 scanner results this time, so that's going to take away 2 of those dice immediately. Now, if a medical can get one of those dice back, or I could use both my commanders to turn both of these dice into tactical and blow up the Space Pirate. In this case, I think the Space Pirate isn't that dangerous, so I'm going to use 1 medical to return 1 of these scanner dice, and I'll go ahead and use the commander to turn this into another medical and return the other one. So not actually fighting all this turn, just kind of fixing the scanning that happened. Okay, drawing a new card. Oh man, this one's really tough. A bounty ship, 4 life, and on a 1 or a 2, he wrecks my shields entirely and then does 1 hull damage. But just the Space Pirates attack this turn, -2 hull. I still have shields, so my shields go down to 2. And I gather all my dice. Hopefully I'll get something to attack these new threats. Here we go. Another scan result. A ton of commanders, and then an engineer and a medical die. Well, I certainly want to do some damage, so I'm going to use 2 commanders to turn both my commander and my engineer into tactical results. That's 1, 2, 3 damage, and I guess I'll finish off the Space Pirates and do 1 damage to the bounty ship. Finally, I'll use my medical to pull my 1 scanner result, making it ready for next turn. Okay, drawing a new ship, I get an interceptor. Only does 1 hull damage, but activates on everything except a 6. Okay, so I just take 1 from the interceptor. Luckily, the bounty ship still didn't attack, so my shields are down to 1, but my hull is still at 8. I gather all 6 dice, and I'm ready to go again. Alright, another big commander turn. I get 1 scanner, 1 medical, 1 engineer, 3 commander results. Now, I definitely want to get 2 tactical to blow up that bounty ship, so I'm going to do basically the exact same turn as last time. I'm going to use 2 commanders to turn this into a tactical, and my engineer into a tactical. That's going to be 1, 2, 3 damage to blow up the bounty ship entirely. And I'll use my remaining medical to pull back my scanner result. My new threat is an assault cruiser. 4 life, -2 hull on a 4 or a 5. And threat die. Oh man, they both hit me, so that's 1, 2, 3. So that takes away my shield and does 2 hull damage, which remember, only engineers can repair. Okay, really hoping I get a science result this turn to recharge my shield so I don't take any more damage. Okay, 1 scanner. And So we'll use this commander die to change 1 of these into a science. And I'll recharge my shields to 4. And again, just to note that 1 science die will recharge all 4 shields. But hull does only 1 or 2 repair for each die, so it's much more efficient to try to recharge your shields when you can. Now, I'm not quite sure what I can do. I can use the commander die to turn this into a tactical and do 3 damage, destroying the interceptor, but then I won't be able to get back my die over there. But I still think that's the right call. So I'm going to change this into a tactical as well, and that'll do 1, 2, 3 damage from my lasers. I'm going to blow up the interceptor straight up. Drawing a new threat card, I get a mercenary. So if nobody else activates, he does 2 hull damage. So basically, no matter what I roll, I'm going to get 2 hull damage. And yes, in this case, the mercenaries are the one who do it to me. Takes my shields back down to 2, but luckily because I recharged them, no actual hull damage is done. I only get 5 dice now. 1 is held up by the scanners. And let's see what I get. Oh, a second scanner result. Okay, I've got a tactical, science, an engineering, and a commander. Okay, the tactical will certainly do 1 damage to the mercenary. And let's see if I can get another tactical to do 1 more. I could use the commander to change... You can get 2 shields back or 1 hull. But I can also get 4 shields back if I wait till they're 0. So I'll change the science die into another tactical, finishing off the mercenary. And I'll use this engineer to repair my hull by 1 point, bringing it back up to 7 out of 8. New threat, solar winds. So this one's interesting. It just kind of hangs out. You'll notice it has no actual life value. But whenever I roll a 2, I take 5 damage and get rid of this. So this just hangs out as kind of a little sword of Damocles waiting to attack me. Okay, and a 1. Nothing hit me this turn. But note I'm only rolling 4 dice, and a pretty good chance I'm going to get an extra threat card immediately. Oh, maybe not this turn. So I can't actually attack the solar winds. The only thing I could do is use a stasis beam to lock him down for the turn so that I can't roll a 2. But for now, let's attack that assault carrier. So I'll shoot 1 laser to do 1 damage. And then, yeah, you know, I think I'm going to get a medical die and pull back one of these scanners, because I don't want that to pop. Then I can either get 2 shields back or lock down one of these. Yeah, let's lock down that solar wind. I'm not really in a place to take 5 damage right now. New threat card is another Corsair. And my threat die roll, 6. So the Corsair does 2 damage, bringing me down to 0 shields remaining. And I get 5 dice back with 1 left on my scanners. I've got a lot of threats on the board. Let's see if I can take some of them out. Oh my gosh! I definitely can. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. So yeah, that's 2, 3, 4, 5. I take out both the Corsair and the Assault Cruiser in 1 giant laser blast. Man, this is kind of a perfect turn except for that 1 scanner, because look, I'm getting all 4 of my shields back, and I'm repairing my hull to full, so I'm almost pristine again. But let's see what else they have to throw at me. Okay, so here's our first internal threat. Notice a square instead of a triangle. So this hangs out until I dedicate 2 science crew dice to resolve the effect. And there's a time warp, which means every time I roll a 2, all threats recover 1 health, although they can't go above their max value. And note one special thing, if I put 1 science die, I can choose to keep it there for future turns and not re-roll that die until I get the 2nd die and finish it off. Okay, let's see if I get the 2 for the solar winds. And I don't. Getting 5 dice back. See if I can get some science to get rid of the time warp. So I'll use the medical die to return my scanner die. I'll use the commander to change 1 of these into science. And then actually I'll change my engineer to change my last die to a science as well. And both of those will get rid of the time warp. New threat is a panel explosion. So I cannot use engineer dice at all until I use a medical die to resolve this internal threat. I get 5 dice back. The one on the infirmary is not returned until I can use a medical die to get it back. Oops. First I got to roll for my solar winds. Nope, still don't go off. Oh man, I do not need that much attacking. Alright, so here I'm going to injure 1 tactical die to get 1 medical result. And I'll go and resolve the explosion with that. I'm going to injure another tactical die to get a 2nd medical result. And note that 1 medical will pull up all of my infirmary guys, so I get all 3 dice back in 1 blow. And I guess I might as well shut down the solar winds with my stasis beams, since I have the remaining science die left over. New threat card comes out. Comms offline. I cannot use commanders until I resolve it with an engineering die. Getting all my dice back for this turn. Okay, some commanders I can't use, but I do have the engineering result to get rid of that comms offline. And then I'll go ahead and change 1 of these into a science to stasis the solar winds. Not much else I can do this turn because there just aren't that many threats in play. But let's add 1. Okay, boost morale. This is actually a positive card. It sits around until I roll a 6, and when I roll a 6, I get rid of 1 of my scanner dice if I have any. So let's see if it goes away, and of course it does. So it's uselessly thrown away because I didn't need any morale boosting. I get my 6 dice back, and 1 scanner result, which I'll pull back with my infirmary, my medical die, and I'll stasis the solar winds. Again, Fairly simple turn there while I'm still waiting for more threats to come out. And we get a boarding ship. So in a 3 to 4, it takes away -2 hull. Let's see if we get that. And we do, so there's 2 shield points lost. And note that some cards do have alternative ways to defeat them. So this boarding ship I can fight with a single tactical die, but that die goes to the infirmary. But that would do the equivalent of 4 damage with a single tactical die. Get back all 6 of my dice. Let's see, not much reason to injure my guys because I can do 1, 2, 3, and use the commander to get 4, 5 tactical damage and blow up the boarding ship the old-fashioned way. I'll finish off by getting a science, and I'm actually going to recharge my shields because the chance of rolling that 2 are just so low. I draw some space pirates, and nobody hits me. Okay, my luck's been super good so far. I'm barely rolling scanners at all. There's 1, but only 1. I don't have any way to deal with the space pirates yet. Well, let's fix that. So I'll send 2 people to the infirmary to change both of these into tactical dice. And that gives me 1, 2, 3 damage to blow the space pirates up. And then I'll get my 2 infirmary guys back with my medical die. Drawing a threat, a pandemic. I can fix it with either a science or a medical, but every time I roll a 1, I have to send a unit to the infirmary. Nope, but no effect yet. Get 5 dice back. 1 scanner result is left over. And still no scanners, jeez. Alright, well, pretty easy turn here. I'll return my 1 scanner die. I'll fix the pandemic with another medical die. I'll stasis with solar winds, and I'm basically sitting pretty otherwise. Okay, new one, a meteoroid. This one's kind of interesting. It just sits around with 4 life, but every time I roll a 1, it goes down by 1. And when it's destroyed by an attack or by it kind of blowing itself up, it does 5 damage, just like the solar wind. And it does come down 1. Now, it's fine, I just want to blow it up at the right time because I can't win the game until it's destroyed, so I don't just want to let it sit around forever. Getting all 6 dice back. Okay, 2 scanner results. And then I could just blow up that meteoroid, but is that really what I want to do? I mean, that would leave me with no shields and 1 damage, and I didn't roll a science. Now, I could injure a guy to get the science, but no, it seems like the wrong turn to do it. Alright, so I'm going to get back 1 of my scanner results. And then I will shoot the meteoroid once, because then it's not in danger of exploding yet. And let's see. I'm going to actually injure this guy to change this one into a medical result. And I'll get rid of my other scanner because I'd rather have a person in the infirmary than about to spawn an extra threat. Speaking of threats, we get a scout. So if you lose hull, you lose an additional hull. Okay, and rolling to see what I get. No effect again, so the scout does not activate. Get back 5 dice. And, wow, a lot of science and engineering. Alright, so I'll injure one of these guys to get a medical. And I guess I'll do that again to get another medical? Sure. So that'll at least get me all my dice back. 1 medical gets all 3 infirmary guys. 1 medical gets the scanner die that's up there. And I'll just leave all these threats to kind of plink at me again. And we are building up. Oh, but there's my 1 single don't panic that I get in hard mode. So I guess I'm doing a little bit okay for a bit. And rolling for my threats. The meteoroid comes 1 closer, almost blowing up. Let's see if I can blow it up and repair my shields and save. Oh, gosh. There we go. My luck couldn't last forever. So when I roll all 3 of these, they immediately resolve, which means I immediately get a new threat. In this case, a destroyer, -3 hull. Jeez. And all 3 of them go to return for free. So once it fills up, I get the extra threat, but they all go to return. Let's see, not a lot I can do here, but I'm going to go ahead and use injure the 1 engineer to get a tactical laser, and I'll hurt the destroyer. And then I'll use my medical guy to get my injured guy back. Alright, let's see what else comes. Another strike bomber. It's a lot of guys, not feeling great. Hopefully I missed their attacks. Let's see. Okay, so the destroyer does 3, and don't forget the scout adds 1 more. And by the way, even though it says lose 1 additional hull, the designer has clarified that means the same as the minus hull, so basically any damage. So that is all of my shields gone in 1 attack. Not liking that guy. But I get all 6 of my dice back to hopefully respond. Ooh, and respond I think I will. It's a lot of engineers, but I do like the 2 tactical results. So that's 3 damage. I'm going to finish off the destroyer with 1. And then I guess I'll get the strike bomber with 2, 3. Finally, I really need my shields back, so... Yeah, I'm going to injure 1 engineer to change another one into a science die and recharge my shields. The final engineer sadly can't do much of anything, and I'm still left with 1 die on the scanners. Okay, drawing. I get a fighter, just a little plinky guy with 1 life and does -1 hull. And let's see. Oh, gosh. Oh, good thing I got my shields up. So the solar winds activate for -5, and then they're gone. The fighter does another 1, so that's 6 damage. Scout does another 1, 7. So gosh, in 1 blow I lose all my shields and I'm down to 5 hull. And that meteoroid is still about to blow up for 5 more potential damage. And sadly, I'm only getting 4 dice back. This is not looking great. I went from beautiful to in dire straits in just a moment. Okay, well thankfully I didn't roll any new scanner results. I need to get a shield though. So let's go and use this commander to change one of these medical dice into a shield. Get those shields back so I'm not going to die. And I'll go ahead and blow up the fighter, I guess. And I got 1 medical result, so I'll get back the scanner die and leave that guy in the infirmary for now. And a new card. Oh man, are you serious? This is a terrible result. So the nebula steals my shields. While we're in the nebula, my shields don't work. Every time I roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it goes down by 1 health automatically, and when it goes away, I get my shields back, but on 0. But I have the potential right now to roll a 1 for the meteoroid and get blown up because I only have 5 hull left. Hopefully not. Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay. Well, it was a fairly short playthrough. There you go. D-6 on hard mode does not mess around. You'll have a pretty good run sometimes, but then when things go wrong, they go wrong quickly. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it.